Snorlax is at full HP. This Draco Meteor is not going to do all that I want it to do. Never mind, it crits. Okay, perfect. Welcome back to I make a video to process some feelings about sports. Didn't know that was a direction this channel would go, but this is my second time doing it after the frustrated Leafs one back in the spring. But this time it's a bit different. In fact, I want to give some serious credit to this year's Toronto Blue Jays for the fact that I have feelings to process in the first place, because I have never been much of a baseball fan. I really didn't like baseball growing up. Like, not to yuck anyone else's yum, but personally, I found it unpleasant to play and really boring to watch when I was growing up. That has eased a bit as I've gotten older. I appreciate the nuances of the game a bit more, and it honestly is a lot better to watch with a pitch clock. But the fact that I am still thinking about Game 7 of the World Series, which at time of recording was last night, is a testament to what an incredible Blue Jays team this was this season. I had not been watching them through most of the season, and then every one of those guys won me over watching them in the playoff run. It was an incredible time. All except in how it ended. So, this is of course the Pokemon channel, and it is time to focus in on an underappreciated blue bird that shocked the world, chasing a major championship and going all the way. I'm talking, of course, about Articuno, my favorite legendary Pokemon. It so happens it was recently announced that Regulation F is returning as the tournament format for the next few months, which includes the only major tournament that I'm likely to go to this season, the Toronto Regional. And I don't really have many thoughts about Reg F. I have no idea how it got chosen. I'm not saying it's a bad format. I don't even know, because honestly, of all the formats we've had in Scarlet and Violet, it's one of the ones that I remember least. Maybe the one, honestly, that I found just plain least memorable. So I don't know if people were asking for this one back, and I don't know why, but when I try to think about what even happened in the first instance of Reg F, the one thing I remember is my favorite legendary Pokemon, Articuno, winning a regional when not many people, if anyone, saw that coming. I was pretty hyped about it. Honestly, maybe I'll take Articuno to Toronto because I don't know what else I'm doing in this format right now, but lots of time to think about that. But for now, everything lines up perfectly. The blue bird that people slept on, chasing a championship. Let's see how it goes. This is the team. I have featured it before on the channel, but if anyone's forgotten, the choice specs, Articuno is the star here, but a lot of other solid Reg F Pokemon here as well. We'll see if I can remember how to use them. Choice Band Arcanine, Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, Life Orb Landorus, Assault Vest Raging Bolt. I don't know, this is going to be my first games in a while in a format that I genuinely just really don't remember very well out of all the ones we've had this generation. But this team was something special. Much like the 2025 Toronto Blue Jays. Anyway, we get Mono Bug right off the bat. We've got Illumise, Slitherwing, Rabsca, Araquanid, Volcarona, and Fortress. That's a really confusing team, even for being Mono Bug. Like, they have an obvious Trick Room mode. They can do Tailwind stuff. They can try to set up the Volcarona. The Fortress, I don't know what it does. Maybe it just blows up. I really couldn't tell you. Choice Band Arcanine looks super strong into this. Especially since I have Intimidate. I can Intimidate the Slitherwing. I think we bring the Articuno to this one because, honestly, just why not? In fact, they don't have any obvious weather. Actually, they could have Sunny Day on Illumise to get the Photosynthesis on Slitherwing, but Araquanid can block Rock Slide with Wide Guard, but I do have Head Smash as well. Let's just lead with these two, because why not? I believe. And we'll bring Arcanine, and what's my best Slitherwing answer? Probably Landorus, right? There's a good case for bringing a Raging Bolt too, though. I'll bring Raging Bolt. Okay, Illumise and Araquanid. Sure. Araquanid also can Wide Guard around my Blizzard. But I can just click Freeze Dry into it. Specs Freeze Dry and Aurora Veil. Hit wide guards. Ah, okay, they deny the Aurora Veil. It's actually Rain Dance. They might have Sunny Day as well. I could see them running both on this team. But a Freeze Dry crit from Vladi takes out the Araquanid. Solid start. I can pivot Ninetales out. Slitherwing is here. It has booster energy, so they probably don't actually have Sunny Day anywhere on the team. I can just pivot Ninetales out for Arcanine, get an Intimidate, and Articuno prefers to have Snow up, of course, because you get Snow Cloak and you get the Ice-type defense boost. And ideally you get Aurora Veil, though not in this case, but I think I'm okay to just throw a Freeze Dry at the Slitherwing while I switch out to Arcanine. Let's see what that gets us. Terra Stellar Slitherwing. They went for an Encore into Ninetales, I guess. That switched out. Close Combat does some pretty good damage to Articuno for them. Also, by not getting rid of the Illumise, I mean that I make it so I actually can't consistently get Snow back up. Well, Articuno was faster than the Slitherwing. I could Extreme Speed it. And then if need be, I also have the Freeze Dry into it. Actually, Arcanine will just be faster than Slitherwing as well, so let's just Rock Slide. Oh, they have Tailwind. Right, of course they do. Alright, that was a silly play by me. Of course Illumise has Tailwind. Well, still took out the Slitherwing, though. They traded Slitherwing for Arcanine. Obviously, they do need to get rid of Arcanine, but I don't know that they love that. I'm gonna go Raging Bolt here. It's Fortress last. Freeze Dry's not... I can Freeze Dry the Illumise still. I actually don't have great... Not having Thunderbolt on this Raging Bolt is actually not great for this position specifically. I guess I can just Draco Meteor the Illumise, though. I don't know what Fortress does. But if I get rid of Illumise, I can get the Snow. It's Volt Switch into Articuno. Articuno survives, being very specially bulky even without its boosts and whatnot. And they forfeit, so... I guess at this point I would sack Articuno, get rid of the drop on Raging Bolt to get Ninetales back in, but I don't need to figure that out because game's over. Iron Crown, Female Indeedee, Urshifu, Cornerstone Mask, Ogerpon, Thundurus, Landorus, and Tornadus. Okay, so this is closer to what I was expecting. I remember Iron Crown Size Spam being pretty big in this format. This also could have a hidden weather mode. They could have Rain Dance on the Torn. Especially if that's Rapid Strike or Shifu, because that and Landorus would both benefit. I really don't remember how to play this format, huh? Well, Ogerpon is good into Rapid Strike or Shifu. It's also reasonable into the Iron Crown stuff, because it gets a special defense boost when it terrestrializes. I'll make them prove they have a weather mode. Obviously, Assault Vest Raging Bolt is pretty good here, too, I would think. Although, it's a little bit tricky into Landorus. I'm probably weak to one of its attacks no matter what. Let's bring Ogerpon and Raging Bolt, but I really don't know if that's the best stuff. The only other thing I remember about my experience of the first run of Reg F is that I was a Gouging Fire player for a while. I used the Gouging Fire, Chien-Pao, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, whatever the other two were stuff. So I could always take another look at that too, ahead of Toronto. But for now, it's Tornadus and it is Rapid Strike or Shifu. Yeah, good chance there's a Rain Dance coming out. I'll go straight for Freeze Dry into Urshifu. What, am I scared? I can Helping Hand. I also can Blizzard. Blizzard has a chance to miss if it is not still Snow, but if it does connect into Tornadus, which is more likely than not, that puts me in a pretty good spot. So let's do that. Rain Dance. The Blizzard comes out next. It does hit both targets. Surging Strikes will take out Articuno. Okay. Needed to be more careful, I guess, around that. I can go Raging Bolt here, but if they go Indeedee, then I can't Thunderclap the Urshifu anymore. What I think I can do here is go Ogre Pawn. Because I can follow me. Try to KO the Tornadus. They can't set Tailwind and attack with Tornadus at the same time, so Ninetales outspeeds if Tornadus goes for an attack. This is obviously fairly luck dependent, but maybe Moonblast does enough to the Torn, I don't know. They do go for the Tailwind. But it's Surging Strikes into the Water Absorb. I get a chance with the Blizzard here. I miss Urshifu. I care more about hitting Tornadus, and I do hit Tornadus. The fact that they got Tailwind up is a bit awkward, especially because they can, and I think probably will, look to pivot in the Indeedee here. So I'll just go for a Spiky Shield. I could Terrasilize the Ogre Pawn now. And go for a... Get the special defense boost and go for a big rain-boosted Ivy Cudgel into Iron Crown, especially if I think Urshifu is likely to switch out. Urshifu is probably not clicking Surging Strikes right now anyway. So I think I'm going to do that. I'll even give it a Helping Hand. They didn't switch. It's just single target Expanding Force and close combat into Ogre Pawn. Thankfully, Ogre Pawn survives. I have given up the Water Absorb, but I've taken Iron Crown with it. It is Indeedee last, but Urshifu is the only significant damage threat at this point. I think Spiky Shield in front of Urshifu is obviously not ideal. I think here I just follow me and switch to Raging Bolt. And that gets Raging Bolt in healthy. I can't then Thunderclap Urshifu, but maybe I can take a hit from it on the next turn. There's one turn of rain too many for comfort, but what can you do? I said I was switching to Raging Bolt, and I didn't. So that's not good. But I guess Raging Bolt avoids taking a Psychic, so it maybe actually does work out for the best. As hero, Electro Web. I would love to protect the Ninetales here, but I can't. But I can Moonblast Indeedee. Okay, Urshifu protects on the last turn of my opponent's Tailwind. That's not bad. That Psychic does... Oh, they got the drop last turn. Okay, so that's why the Psychic takes out Ninetales. But now the Tailwind is over. I can Electro Web. Take the close combat. Nice. And reliable Ernie Clement saves the whole game. I don't think they should have forfeited there. I haven't shown that I have Thunderbolt. Maybe they just think they can reasonably assume that I do, when in fact you and I know that I don't. But actually, Raging Bolt is able to miss any of its attacks into Indeedee and is at low HP. So it was actually still possible there for my opponent to win, but I don't really blame them if they didn't realize that. Okay, this is a composition that I vaguely recognize, although I would not have remembered without seeing it that it existed. Urshifu, Iron Crown, Indeedee, Tornadus, Regidrago, and Hearthflame Mask Ogre Pawn. So a lot of powerful offense here, and once again, an opponent with Tailwind might prove kind of hard for this team to deal with. What I like about this, though, is that Assault Vest Raging Bolt can pretty well sit in front of a lot of these Pokemon. It does have the issue of being weak to Dragon, and Regidrago just hits extremely hard with that Dragon Stab. And if I Terra Fairy, then I'm weak to Tachyon Cutter from the Iron Crown, which is a nice synergy that those two offensive threats have, but it is still something I have available here. Is this one going to have Rain Dance on the Torn? I think probably yes, again with a Rapid Strike Urshifu, but I think I will this time just go I'll go Articuno Raging Bolt this time. Ninetales in the back. I can switch it in if I like the positioning for it. And then probably Ogre Pawn again, although I'm not really sure how much it does in this game. But I don't love bringing Arcanine into what I think is Rapid Strike Urshifu. I don't know. This format is slowly coming back to me, but it is slow. Okay. Here I think I want to Electro Web. I'd like to just throw off a Blizzard, but there's the danger of it missing in the snow. I'll go Freeze Dry into Tornadus and Electro Web. We dodge a Bleak Wind Storm with Articuno, so that's pretty nice. They get the speed drop. Ooh, Articuno survives a Tachyon Cutter at 1%. Knocks Torn down to its Sash. I can knock it out with this Electro Web if I connect. Nice. Okay. And DD Iron Crown, obviously very threatening duo. Not a Protect to be found on 3 of the 4 Pokemon that I brought, so just stalling this out doesn't work, obviously. But I think Raging Bolt can take a... I mean, it's Assault Vest Bolt. I would think it could take a spread. Expanding Force and hit back with... I guess it has to be Snarl. Maybe it can be Electro Web. I'll go Snarl. And yeah, I'll preserve the Articuno for now. Maybe it can outspeed and threaten something later. Okay, this is interesting. I actually have a pretty free Aurora Veil here. I think I'd be silly not to take it. Tachyon Cutter will knock out the Ninetales, but the Aurora Veil helps me with the Expanding Force from here on out, as does finally getting a Snarl into Iron Crown. They set Trick Room, so they use the speed drop against me there. That makes me not so inclined to bring Articuno in. But actually, the Iron Crown is already is still, despite the speed, because they got the speed drop with Bleak Wind Storm, the Iron Crown is actually still faster than my Raging Bolt, so the Trick Room is actually maybe kind of favorable to me. I think this is another game to Terrastallize Ogerpon. Stack some more special defense along with the Aurora Veil. Go for an Ivy Cudgel into Iron Crown. And I'll just go for another Snarl. I'm doing a lot to mitigate the damage at this point. Honestly, the Terra might even be kind of overkill. I get a Snarl crit, but I doubled up with Ivy Cudgel anyway. And yeah, those attacks back are just not doing much damage. This is a good look at how this team works at its best, I think. And now they have Regidrago, but like I kind of just have the speed advantage at this point, don't I? I guess I still have to worry about Follow Me from Indeedee, but like... if I just Ivy Cudgel and Snarl here... takes out Indeedee, gets a drop on Regidrago. Dragon Energy doesn't even get the KO on Raging Bolt. It's Life Orb Drago, so it'll wear itself down. And of course I'm looking for a Draco Meteor into it next turn, but they forfeit before we actually get there. Alright, it's coming back to me a little bit more how this team works. I mean, it's also a pretty old team. If I want to do more with Articuno in this format, it might need some revision, but this is not a team I expect to see. I mean, it makes some sense, right? That's probably Belly Drum Snorlax with Cresselia and Sinistcha setting up Trick Room for it. The Galarian Moltres is a bit mysterious to me, though. The Pelipper is, of course, able to take my snow away, and the Garganacl is able to Salt Cure my ice types, which makes them pretty sad. My best Garg answers are Ogerpon and Landorus. I don't think I think I probably don't even bring Articuno to this game. Honestly, I think I probably leave the ice types behind and bring the other 4 in some order. Let's... I feel like Choice Band Arcanine is very threatening into everything except Pelipper. It's not that threatening into Garg either. But it is into everything else. Arcanine Ogerpon could be a reasonable lead, or Arcanine Raging Bolt. But I think I can do Arcanine Ogerpon. I can switch to Raging Bolt if Arcanine is in a bad position. They lead Cresselia Snorlax, so they're looking to get Trick Room up. So I think I just... what's my strongest attack? Head Smash. It also has a 20% chance to miss, though. Let's see what Flamethrower and Ivy Cudgel into Crest does. They Terra Dragon the Snorlax. I didn't see that coming. Turn 1. Well, they're trying to resist the big attacks I can throw at it, but yeah, that means I get to deny their Trick Room there. Actually, I don't have a great attack to hit the Snorlax next turn, so that is kind of dangerous still. I can Draco Meteor it when I get Raging Bolt in. Sinistcha is here. That also can set Trick Room. If it has a... oh, if it has a Terra type, it can't Terra. They used their Terra already. So I don't have to think about... I was thinking about how do I cover for like a Terra Water Sinistcha and use Grass Move, or do I cover for Terra Fire and use... okay, but they pivoted out. So they're looking to remove a threat here, probably Arcanine. So that Sinistcha can hopefully in their mind, still get the Trick Room up. It's actually Rock Slide from the Snorlax, so it does a ton of damage to both my Pokemon, and it does knock out the Arcanine. I'm just going to go straight for the Draco Meteor now. And look to keep the Garg honest with this Ivy Cudgel. It hits Sinistra coming in. Snorlax is at full HP. This Draco Meteor is not going to do all that I want it to do. Never mind, it crits. Okay, perfect. And that should be GG pretty much. I'll pivot this in to get rid of the drop on this. Ivy Cudgel into the Garg. They could... No, they can't redirect it because Ogerpon's a grass type. It's immune to Rage Powder. Perfect. And then I'll go for a sub here if they let me. I can just Ivy Cudgel until Ogerpon goes down. Another crit. It does have that boosted crit rate, of course. They missed the Machagacha. Pretty unlucky game for my opponent, as they missed the substitute there. And Landorus is free to Sludge Bomb. Ernie Clement can, I guess, just Draco Meteor. There we go. Excalibur, Ninetales, Gouging Fire, Metagross, Wellspring, Ogerpon, and Zapdos. So this is an interesting take on a Gouging Fire team. And they also have Ninetales supporting an Ice type, so I don't think I have to worry about getting Snow up in this game. I do have to worry about Ninetales being threatened by Gouging Fire and Metagross. Although Gouging Fire probably doesn't hit it super hard immediately. And Metagross should be relatively slow. It could have Bullet Punch. Also, both of them can be threatened by Arcanine. So I think I'm going to do this, Arcanine for sure. And there's nobody else that I love here. Actually, the Excalibur is kind of threatening into my whole team, except Arcanine. I have answers to the Zapdos. I think I can bring Ogerpon to round things out. Okay, it is Metagross lead with Gouging Fire, so Aurora Veil is probably not safely going up, unless I commit the Terra Fire on Ninetales, which honestly, I do think is reasonable here. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm actually just going to Blizzard, Terra Fire, Aurora Veil. With Terra Fire, we resist fire attacks from Gouging Fire and steel attacks from Metagross. They actually go for the Heavy Slam into Articuno. That does a lot of damage. That does enough damage that I'm not sure I love keeping Articuno in here. Because Gouging Fire can outspeed and threaten it now. I can switch to this, to Arcanine, and throw off a Blizzard with Ninetales. Yeah, Metagross doesn't get intimidated. Gouging Fire does. The Heat Crash is really not doing much. The Heavy Slam shouldn't either if it comes out. Blizzard doesn't quite get... Okay. Well, I still needed to preserve Articuno there, right? Oh, but it's Psychic Fangs. They also get rid of my Aurora Veil. Which means maybe the Ninetales Terra was not as useful as I hoped it would be. I'll go for Flare Blitz into Metagross. I'm actually super threatened by the Metagross right now. I'll try to get the Aurora Veil back. Terra Water. They're getting me good with some of these techs. Tried to get the Aurora Veil back up. I didn't actually think they would let me, but it would have been nice. And missing that KO on Gouging Fire is really hurting right now. I guess maybe I needed to get my Redirector in earlier, right? Because now I can follow me with Ogerpon, and that can protect Articuno from an attack or two. And this Blizzard can take out the Gouging Fire. I do only have 2 turns of Snow left. I don't think I've played this matchup right. Burning Bulwark, and their Ninetales comes in. They'll have to get through 1 more turn of Snow. And they Freeze Dry on the Ninetales. Okay. Hang on, Gouging Fire takes itself out with the Spiky Shield chip. But the Snow is gone. Excalibur is here. I don't have any good threat into that Pokemon at this point. So I think that's GG. I guess I needed to get Ogerpon onto the field earlier and preserve some other threats. But, oh well. Now they get the Metagross back. And Baxcalibur, no fears, just goes straight for a Glaive Rush. I missed the KO on Metagross through my opponent's Aurora Veil. Actually, if I'd used Spiky Shield there, and I did consider it, then maybe I can get rid of the Metagross. But I thought that was kind of a slow play when my opponent would quite possibly protect the Baxcalibur. I don't know. Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, Annihilate, Sneasler, Urshifu, Incineroar, and Whimsicott. Okay. I like Arcanine here, except I have to watch out for Defiant Annihilate. I could see Whimsicott running Sunny Day, but it's no sure thing. I'm not saying it's likely, I'm saying it's plausible. Landorus is pretty threatening into a lot of these Pokemon. I mean, Blizzard Spam is pretty threatening into a lot of this team if I can pull it off. Let's just fall back on my stars here. Rely on them to get the job done. I'll bring Arcanine, I just have to be careful about the Annihilate. And with that in mind... who's best? I think Landorus is alright here. There are a lot of sort of interesting hits that it can take from this opponent. And ways that can threaten them offensively. Nobody here minds being intimidated. They might mind a Sunny Day, but I don't think it's very likely they have it. They do mind a Fake Out, but we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Blizzard, Aurora Veil. Fake Out goes into Ninetales. They set Tailwind. Blizzard takes out Whimsicott. Okay. It's Ogerpon next. Not surprising. But I have a pretty easy switch to Arcanine here. Honestly, the main question is which slot to switch it into. And I think the answer is the Ninetales slot, because I think they want to deny the Aurora Veil. And maybe I can get some more damage with the Specs Blizzard before Articuno goes down. Terra Fire, so it'll offset the Intimidate right away. The Ivy Cudgel does go into Arcanine, as does a Flare Blitz from Incineroar. Ogerpon has turned off its Grass typing, so it will resist this Blizzard. It does crit the Incineroar, though, and it freezes Ogerpon. That's huge. I don't know what else to say. That is absolutely huge. Opponent says, "Are we for real?" in the chat. I guess that's another thing to say, but hey, it's the first freeze I've gotten in this laddering session, and this team is meant to get freezes sometimes. But yeah, I'll just Blizzard and Rock Slide here. Ogerpon stays frozen. Parting Shot goes into Arcanine. But this Rock Slide should still do a lot, except that it misses the Ogerpon. So Ogerpon will get a chance to thaw. Well, it's had one already. It will get another one. I do take out the Sneasler. I think I'm down to pivot Arcanine out here and see if I get a Snowcloak dodge on the Fake Out. Ogerpon stays frozen. There's no Fake Out. They Flare Blitz Articuno, but it doesn't KO through the Ice-type defense boost in Snow. Blizzard takes out Incineroar. My opponent's Tailwind ends now, and there's just no way that Ogerpon can pull this back. Very lucky freeze for me, but that is part of how this team is meant to work sometimes. You're going to get some of those playing a bunch of games with this. Because that's what happens when you come and challenge our team up north, right? Whimsicott, Raging Bolt, Watermane, Chiyu, Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, and Urshifu. Very scary. Probably Sunny Day somewhere on this team. Probably on the Whimsicott, because the next 4 Pokemon all benefit from it. Arcanine is good, if a little tricky to position. Raging Bolt is good because the Fairy Terra actually comes in handy here against most of what they have, and I can Electro Web things and help position Arcanine a bit better with that. I don't think I mind lead Landorus. Actually, I think I like Landorus, Raging Bolt, Arcanine. And I'll do Ogerpon next. I think this is a leave the ice types behind kind of game. But you see here we get Flutter Mane and Whimsicott. I can threaten the Sludge Bomb into something right away. I also, I think I will Terra Fairy Raging Bolt promptly here. The only weakness that opens up is to their Raging Bolt, but it's obviously very beneficial into these two fairy types here. And I can Snarl or I can Electro Web. I think I prefer Electro Web because that better sets up my other Pokemon to knock things out before getting knocked out themselves. Of course, Whimsicott can Tailwind here. I forgot to Terra Fairy. Just absolute brain fart there. But Raging Bolt survives the turn at least. Tailwind is up though. But that's a really bad brain error there. Single Strike Urshifu. Okay, so I want to protect Landorus this turn, but Single Strike Urshifu means that's not really very viable. Probably want to preserve Landorus, and Ogerpon is the Pokemon that has the least clear role in this matchup, so I'll switch it in. I'll Terra Fairy now. Maybe it's not really worth it after all this damage, but it might get Raging Bolt through this turn. And able to get another Electro Web to chip stuff. Would have been a lot better to do it last turn, but we do take a Wicked Blow thanks to that. And I can look to Ivy Cudgel something now, I guess. Raging Bolt's still standing. Ogerpon taken out by a Wicked Blow. We have now offset the Tailwind. Although the Flutter Mane functionally still has the Photosynthesis speed boost. I can actually Extreme Speed the Flutter Mane now if I want. But I think the Urshifu is still too fast for that to be the right idea. But I think I can go Arcanine here. Oh, I can Thunderclap the Urshifu. I have to remember I have that move. I think I'm going to Rock Slide and Thunderclap Urshifu. Urshifu could Sucker Punch, though. And it's at effectively neutral speed, -2 in Tailwind. Urshifu's so scary because hitting through Protect is crazy strong in this format. I mean, what else is new? That's the story of Urshifu as long as it's existed. But honestly, I don't find it that impressive in restricted formats compared to something like this. So I'm more scared of it this laddering session than I'm used to being. Okay. I guess I should have Extreme Speeded the Flutter Mane. Maybe. But their Tailwind ends here, and Urshifu's at -2 speed, and they're on their last two Pokemon, so they can't switch it out. Chi-Yu is last. I think we just Rock Slide and Earth Power here. Shiny Chi-Yu was not around last Reg F. That's very nice to see. Solid shiny design, of course. Urshifu could get me with a Sucker Punch into something still, maybe. Although, Sucker Punch doesn't auto-crit like Wicked Blow, so the -1 attack would come into play there. Okay, take out Urshifu. Dark Pulse takes out Landorus, so Arcanine will get to go for the Rock Slide and miss. Perfect. And we lose to Chi-Yu. But if that Rock Slide just connects, then that's probably a win, right? So, most of the time that game's won. There probably was a better way to play it. Iron Hands, Tornadus, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon, Farigiraf, and Urshifu. What a weird format with all these crazy threats but no restricted Pokemon. It is gonna take some work to get my head back around it, but anyway. Once again, I don't know whether they have Rain Dance. I think most Tornadus probably have Rain Dance. Especially when there's an Urshifu, it's probably Rapid Strike form. They've got a Trick Room mode, they've got Tailwind modes, they've got solid, well-rounded coverage. All good, classic stuff. How do I beat it? I think... You know what? I don't know if the Ice types are even good here. I think they're probably not, actually, but I'm going to hard call an Ursaluna Farigiraf lead that my opponent has no reason to actually go for. And I'm going to try to overwhelm it with Blizzard Spam. And then I'll bring Ogerpon, and I'll bring... Do I need Raging Bolt? I think I need Raging Bolt and Arcanine, so I'll bring those two. I think this is not a good mode in this matchup, but I bow leave. Let's go. Tornadus and Ogerpon, okay. Well, even if you have Rain Dance here, do you really click it? Let's see. Terra Fire immediately. Uh-oh. Taunt on Ninetales denies the Aurora Veil. Ivy Cudgel into Articuno KOs. I need to respect Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon more with this team, huh? Well, let's Flare Blitz. Rock Slide and Blizzard. They get their Tailwind. They get Stomping Tantrum into Arcanine. Right, that's going to be a feature in this format. Okay, we froze another Ogerpon. That's going to be a feature in this format too, isn't it? Ogerpon coverage that I'm not used to lately. It's fine, it happens. The format just came back, and like I barely remembered it existed. I don't know why this was the format that was chosen, but I'll get used to it again. The speed drop on Ninetales is really awkward here. Although, I mean, they have Tailwind anyway, so actually it doesn't really matter that much. Terra Fairy here, and not forget. Go for a Moonblast into Urshifu. Is a Blizzard Freeze on Ogerpon going to save another game? There's the Ursaluna. It's Thunderclap and Blizzard. And the answer is yes. A Blizzard Freeze on an Ogerpon saved another game. Twice in one video. Hearthflame Mask form both times. We take those. That is an absolute clutch Vladimir Guerrero home run right there. Ditto, sure. Iron Hands, Cresselia, Amoonguss, Indeedee, Comfey. This looks like hard Trick Room, but like a weird, silly version. Also, they have a DD, so if they really, really want to set Trick Room, they pretty much just can. I don't think it's worth trying to overwhelm with offense and deny it. Let's go with my Aurora Veil stuff instead. I don't think they have a way to deny Aurora Veil. Let's bring Arcanine. I can intimidate the hands, which is their main offensive threat that I can see. I also can beat my own ice types with Arcanine. And probably Raging Bolt is okay here. Actually, maybe I want Ogerpon, because I can redirect Spores while being immune to them. Ivy Cudgel is just strong into everything. They don't have a water resist. Let's do that. Okay. Iron Hands and Cresselia. They can fake out. My two Pokemon can't protect. I haven't clicked Sheer Cold a single time yet. But I'm not changing that right now. Blizzard, Aurora Veil. They can fake something out if they want. I am actually not getting Aurora Veil up with any consistency in this video, which is something to think about if I want to workshop Articuno some more in the next little bit. But of course, in Open Team Sheet, I would know... Oh, I see. I forgot against that. Hadn't seen that in a long time. In Open Team Sheet, I know whether my opponent has... That's an interesting target. I guess they can heal it anyway, so it's fine for them. In Open Team Sheet, I know whether my opponent has stray weather moves and stuff. I could get a freeze. I clicked Blizzard twice here. No freeze. Okay. Well. You know what? Could happen now. Or Drain Punch could miss Articuno, or it could crit and KO. What a weird format this is. So many crazy threats. And no restricted Pokemon to keep some of them down. They might not know that this is Terra Ghost. switch. Are you serious? Well, can they get a Ditto now? Or they get a free Ogerpon now? They can follow me. And I can't even Ivy Cudgel because they Water Absorb. Actually, I think what I'm supposed to do here is Spiky Shield. Unfortunately, I can't protect Arcanine. Protected that? Well, Ditto might be choice, so they might not be able to follow me now. But I'm still gonna Horn Leech, just in case. Yeah, okay, not choiced. Never mind. We take out Ditto. But Iron Hands gets another KO here. Actually, no, it misses the KO on Ogerpon, thanks to the Intimidate and the Aurora Veil. They cannot redirect an Ivy Cudgel here, because this is a Grass type, so I could still get an Ivy Cudgel crit to save the game. Or not. Okay. That crit didn't KO anyway. It's Iron Hands, it's so bulky. It's the last Pokemon standing. Style points to my opponent for that. Alright. Well, I think I won enough games to feel good about this team and about the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team. And while they head off to a new adventure with the next season of baseball coming up, not soon, but, you know, sooner than you might think, I've got a new adventure to start here too with the return of Regulation F. Let's see if I can make my Slept on Blue Bird perform somewhat better, or whether I pivot to something else in the time to come. But in any case, let's try to take inspiration from the 2025 Toronto Blue Jays. Really solid, exciting, enjoyable team to watch, and give a serious team effort. Everybody giving their all. Keep progressing, keep chasing some championships. Let's go.